Alright. This is Yusuf out here on channel. On whatever I'm titling this. Now, maybe I'll still stick with strange stuff. But, it's the toxic woman, or the toxic lady. Gloria Ramirez, and unlike I said in the Bygone Pipes video, I will be using Wikipedia for a few of the points of data in this. Just, well, I'll just get into it. If you want to ask me which few parts I got from Wikipedia, go ahead. Gloria Ramirez, January 11, 1963, February 19, 1994. Was a Riverside, California woman dubbed the Toxic Lady by the media when several Riverside hospital workers became ill after exposure to her body and blood. Alright, that's what I got from Wikipedia. That's it. So she was brought into the hospital. She was rushed in. There's conflicting data on why she was brought to the hospital. She was apparently talkative when in the ambulance. She had a erratic heartbeat, so it was elevated heartbeat at least. Again, I'm drawing from multiple sources. On some points they conflict. So they gave her IV of, one of them said Valium and Ativan, which both of those medications are benzodiazepines, so it might be one or the other. So either lorazepam or Valium, but they tried to sedate her with a benzo. And they were obviously giving her oxygen, so they, when they brought her in, they smelled this garlic-like smell coming from her mouth, this sweet smell. One of the doctors tried to draw her blood, and when they drew her blood, they looked at it, and they saw these yellow things floating in it. And the woman immediately passed out. And then another person passed out. And they saw her skin becoming oily and greasy. And then somebody working in the room, then another person wound up fainting. And they had to evacuate the hospital. And let me jump to the source real quick. Again, you guys have heard me read, and because of my mild dyslexia, it winds up coming out jumbled, and I have to keep rereading stuff. So they had to evacuate the hospital and tend to her with a skeleton crew. And you know what? Because I'm not putting this together in such a succinct manner or whatever it is I'd like to, I will retreat to the Wikipedia page for little things, but I'm going to add extra because the Wikipedia doesn't have a lot of this stuff. At 8:15 in the evening, February, Ramirez, suffering from the effects of advanced cervical cancer. That, there's a dispute. I'll get to that later on. That's not why she was... Another source, actually two other sources, says that's not why she was brought in to Riverside General Hospital by the paramedics. Okay, it says she was extremely confused, suffering from bradycardia and Cheyenne strokes respiration. And this is why I don't trust this particular Wikipedia page, because it says the medical staff injected her with Valium, Versed and Ativan to sedate her. Again, two of those are benzodiazepines. When it became clear Ramirez was responding poorly to treatment, the staff tried to defibrillate her heart. Now again, you would only use that had somebody already... You'd use a defibrillator. That's the shock pads. You'd use that if they flatline. Not if they're not... If they're not... That person has pneumonia. Shock them. No. I mean, that just sounds weird. Maybe. I don't know. If there's any ER doctors around, tell me if I'm an idiot or not. But that, to me, sounds pretty strange. At the point, several people saw oily sheen covering Ramirez's body. Again, another one says this is oily sheen came after they draw the blood. But at least these points are consistent. The oily sheen, the blood, the passing out of people. An oily sheen covering Ramirez's body, and noticed a fruity, garlic-like odor that they thought was coming from her mouth. A registered nurse, Susan Kane, attempted to draw blood from Ramirez's arm and noticed an ammonia-like smell coming from the tube. The ammonia-like smell, that's in everything that I've heard about this, when they try to draw fluid. She passed the syringe to Julie Gorchkanowski, forgive me for mispronouncing the name, a medical resident who noticed manilla-colored particles floating in her blood. Jesus Christ. At this point, Kane fainted and was removed from the room. Shortly after that, Dr. Gorchnowski began to feel nauseated, complaining that she was lightheaded, and she left the trauma room, sat at the nurse's desk. The staff asked her if she was okay, but before she could respond, also fainted. Maureen Welch, a respiratory therapist who was assisting in trauma, was the third to pass out. The staff then ordered to evacuate all the emergency room patients to the parking lot outside the hospital. Yeah, that's a great idea. Evacuate an emergency room into a parking lot, but I guess I'm going to straighten some stuff. The skeleton crew stayed behind to stabilize Ramirez at 8:50 p.m. 45 minutes of CPR and defibrillation. Okay, that makes sense. Wait, no it doesn't. 45 minutes of CPR and defibrillation. The brain's gone after 9 minutes. I know that for a horrible reason I'm not going to get into, but many of you already know. Ramirez was pronounced dead from kidney failure related to her cancer. Now that's what it gives. There's another role in here. But, well, not in Wikipedia. But there's something of greater extent going on. And I'll get into that now. So the another source says Ramirez went to the hospital. It was treated for nausea and difficulty of breathing, and 6 emergency workers attending her smelled ammonia-like fumes and became ill. A nurse passed out while drawing her blood that had yellow particles floating in it. The ER doctor was wheeled out of the room unconscious with severe breathing problems, and a respiratory therapist also passed out. So you see the consistency in the data, let's say, or information. Another nurse threw up. Other workers near Ramirez complained of headache and nausea, and an evacuation of the ER was ordered. Ramirez was a young mother with advanced cervical cancer, died in the emergency room February 19, 1994. See, she wasn't rushed to the emergency room for cervical cancer. You don't get rushed to the hospital for cervical cancer. And this one, it's a little bit better. It doesn't have the stupid... oh yeah, and all this is fair use because I'm talking about it. I'm using multiple points of things. I'm not just reading verbatim. I was at 2 points within Wikipedia. And a few sentences on this one, but I'm going to use another site. Inspectors from California's Working Safety Agency deemed her corpse to be a public hazard. It was wrapped in 2 layers of heavy plastic and stored in an airtight aluminum casket. It's the story of the fuming lady about 50 miles outside of LA. Grab headline. So, gets crazy. OSHA tried to do an autopsy on her. And they had level A protective suits, like the space suit, like if you've ever seen what's that stupid movie with Dustin Hoffman, Contamination or something. It was kind of like about Ebola virus or something like that, or Contagion, the recent movie. The suits that are completely sealed off, they are kind of like spacesuits. They got an umbilical cord for oxygen. They were about to do an autopsy when it was stopped, and they were escorted out under armed guard. Then I believe it was that was the coroner's office that did that. I'm sorry. No, was it? Or was it OSHA? Yeah, it was OSHA doing that. But before it could begin, they were called out, and they were removed by the state. The government did their own autopsy, held the body for 6 weeks, then gave it, the family kept demanding it back, so they gave it back to them. And Gloria Ramirez's body had her intestines and her organs were taken out and placed back in her body in a plastic bag. One website says like giblets in a turkey, and her heart was missing, and her body was badly decomposed at this point. And her blood that was taken at the hospital, that was all, it was all confiscated. Even the IV bag, any sample, all of her blood samples for anything that was drawn, anything close to her being alive, even from the second autopsy, is all gone. Or all of it was, the parts that didn't magically disappear, and all the paperwork magically disappeared, but the samples of blood that they got back, the family got back and got to their doctor, or their whatever who does an autopsy, pathologist, I guess, were left at room temperature and exposed to air. So, intentionally destroyed. So, odd enough, it looks like a cover-up of what was going on. Some people say it wasn't her at all. What was happening is a meth lab was operating in the hospital, in the ER, which in the early 90s in Los Angeles, I could believe that. But this is what I find strange, which is kind of cool. Which government conspiracy, that's strange, that's weird enough, that's cool enough, okay. But here's another thing, alright. Dr. Gorchkinsky denied that she had been affected by mass hysteria and pointed to her own medical history as evidence. After her exposure, she spent 2 weeks in an intensive care with breathing problems developed hepatitis and avascular necrosis. Holy shit. In her knees. Necrosis is always a bad thing. Look it up if you don't know what it is. But it's... anytime you see necro, that's always bad. Just to let you know. Eager to clear her name and win a lawsuit against General Hospital in Riverside, blah blah. Now, the interesting part. Livermore Labs postulated that Ramirez had been using diphthenyl sulfide, DMSO, a solvent, as a home remedy for pain. Drinking a solvent as a home remedy for pain. World takes all kinds. Let's say that I've known people who do strange things. Users of this substance have reported a garlic-like taste. Livermore scientists theorized that DMSO in Ramirez's system may have built up due to urinary blockage. Oxygen administered by the paramedics would have combined with DMSO to formulate dimethylsulfone, DMSO2. DMSO2 is known to crystallize at room temperature, and the crystals were observed in some of Ramirez's drawn blood. Electrical shocks administered during emergency defibrillation could have converted DMSO into dimethylsulfate, DMSO4, a powerful poisonous gas, exposure to which could cause reported symptoms of the emergency room staff. Freaking weird, dude. It was 2 months after she died. Her badly decomposing body was released for an independent autopsy and final burial. I went in that. The strange thing is, and this is on Wikipedia, it says 10 weeks after she died, Ramirez was buried in an unmarked grave at Olive Memorial Park in Riverside. In Olivewood Memorial Park in Riverside. If her family wanted her body back, why would they have an unmarked grave? And Memorial Park, I can understand that. Memorial Park. If it's... Because I was trying to think, why isn't it a cemetery? You can't just bury bodies anywhere you want. Is it Memorial Park like trying to have a secular atheist form of a cemetery where you don't want to call it a cemetery? But that just, I gotta check. Well, yeah, I'll check that out and see if it actually is a cemetery. Funny name for a cemetery. Why not like St. Anne or something like that, or Holy Resurrection, Queen of Heaven or something like that. I don't know, something like that. Or cemetery in the name. Usually those are, not to piss off any atheists, but it's usually churches and synagogues that organize cemeteries historically, and people, I don't know if any atheist has ever founded a cemetery just for atheists. That just seems irritating, or a secular cemetery. But California's strange, so maybe. But I can't. According to one report, she was Catholic, so it seems odd. But anyways, I'll put links to all the stuff that I'm drawing from. This is more of drawing attention to weird shit. You guys can find more about it, and if you do, please tell me about it. But Gloria Ramirez, hardly knew ye. I definitely didn't know you at all, but now you're famous. Apparently an X-Files episode was based after you, so is an episode of Grey's Anatomy. So it's a segment of the show on investigative discovery called New Detectives. And so is an episode of Weird or What? Oh my god. And Stink Bomb segment of the animated film Memories. Now, Stink Bomb, yeah. Maybe your pissed off ghost could go attack those people. Stink bomb in relation to your horrible death. Tragic as it is. But famous. And this is the fame I don't want to have. I don't want to be famous after I die. Well, unless it's like some martyrdom hero thing where I saved a bunch of people, or I, stood down like the Tiananmen Square guy did with the tanks. I want fame in life so I could capitalize off of that, so I can live a better life with the money that I used capitalizing off of, or that I gained capitalizing off my fame. This is me at my channel. Take it easy. Alright. This is Yusuf out here on channel. On whatever I'm titling this. Now. Maybe I'll still stick with strange stuff. But, it's the toxic woman, or the toxic lady. Gloria Ramirez, and unlike I said in the Bygone Pipes video, there's conflicting data on why she was brought to the hospital. She was apparently talkative when in the ambulance. She had a erratic heartbeat, so it was elevated heartbeat at least. Again, I'm drawing from multiple sources. On some points they conflict. So they gave her IV of, one of them said Valium and Ativan, which both of those medications are benzodiazepines, so it might be one or the other. So either lorazepam or Valium, but they tried to sedate her with a benzo. And they were obviously giving her oxygen, so they I will be using Wikipedia for a few of the points of data in this. Well, I'll just get into it. If you want to ask me which few parts I got from Wikipedia, go ahead. Gloria Ramirez, January 11, 1963, February 1994. Was a Riverside, California woman dubbed the Toxic Lady by the media when several Riverside hospital workers became ill after exposure to her body and blood. Alright, that's what I got from Wikipedia. That's it. So she was brought into the hospital. She was rushed